New Labor Department data indicates that the United States economy did remarkably well in the first quarter of 2019. In fact, gross domestic product and employment have grown tremendously. But instead of crediting you, the competitive, value-creating American, or perhaps giving a little pat on the back to some of the people who might have changed policies to let you be freer in the marketplace, certain left-wing politicians would rather credit, yeah, you got it, Barack Obama. Hi folks, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRCTV. Indeed, the Labor Department data shows that the unemployment rate fell to 3.6% in the first quarter of 2019. That's the lowest it's been since 1969, okay? The U.S. market added 263,000 new jobs, and GDP, gross domestic product, grew 3.2%. But when faced with information like this, certain leftists, such as New Jersey Democrat Senator Cory Booker, appearing on CNN with Jake Tapper, didn't want to face it.
They've gone up 3%, which is more than it ever went up during Obama.
But again, first of all, Obama, I love that Trump is taking credit for a recovery that started under Obama, but the substance of this, who is this economy going to work for?
Likewise, Democrat Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar appeared with Tapper, and when he asked this,
unemployment is the lowest it's been since I was 9 months old. You're really not going to give President Trump any credit for that in terms of his tax cuts or deregulation or anything he's done?
You know what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about when we were in that downturn and President Obama came into office and he had to deal with that with the Congress to try to, one, right the financial industry, and then two, get us on the road to recovery. And I remember that the Republicans were giving him grief when he took any credit for that. So I think that we have had policies in place starting with President Obama, that have aided that recovery.
Well, Senators Booker and Klobuchar, it's true that the economy began growing again under Obama, but it did so despite his actions, not because of his actions. As Cato Institute's Michael Tanner noted in late 2018, the recovery of the United States economy under Obama was the slowest since World War II. And as Tanner has noted, quote, "It is noteworthy that growth had slowed during Obama's last year in office, dropping from 2.3% in the second quarter of 2016 to just 1.8% in the final quarter." Now, evidently, autocrats like Cory and Amy have deleted that from their programming, and they've also assiduously avoided mentioning that, as Tanner does note, with policy changes freeing U.S. commerce, by the fall of 2018, unemployment for women, African Americans, and Latinos were at multi-decade lows. And the rates have improved on nearly every front with this latest report. As the AP tells us, the unemployment rate for women fell last month to 3.1%, the lowest point since 1953. The rate for Latinos dropped to 4.2%, a record low since 1973, when the government began tracking the data. For Asians, joblessness has matched a record low of 2.2%, and the unemployment rate for veterans of the Iraq and Afghan wars dropped to 1.7%, also a record low. And the unemployment rate for African Americans in this latest report is 6.7%, still very near its record low from last year. So, what seems to have contributed to the weak recovery under Obama and the surge after he left office? Well, policies that Obama implemented that hampered or threatened to hamper free market growth, and policies that were implemented under Trump that removed some of these burdens or gave people hope that they would be removed. Wayne Cruz, Vice President for Policy and Senior Fellow at the Competitive Enterprise Institute, told me,
here's the thing, the environment, the business environment we were in under Obama was one where business had a feeling that the government was not disinclined to step in and regulate. You know, you had Obama statements like, you didn't build that, or those kinds of things got brought up. And even in his State of the Union address, he said, if Congress doesn't act, I've got a pen, I've got a phone, and I'll get things done that way. So there was very much environment under Obama where business felt like the regulators were at their heels. And I think this is kind of important. When Obama left, the Federal Register hit 95,000 pages. That's the highest it's ever been in history. And the numbers of rules in the Federal Register had jumped way up.
And James Brohl, senior analyst for the Mercatus Center at George Mason University, observed,
in a typical year, somewhere between about 3,000 and 4,000 regulations are finalized by the federal government. So you mentioned that perhaps the Obama administration finalized 4,000 regulations. That was probably an annual statistic. So that was probably for a typical year. I think during most of the Obama years, it was somewhere between around 3,500 and 4,000. So maybe it was high 3,000. Now that number has come down somewhat in the Trump administration. So just as an example, in 2018, about 3,300 regulations were finalized. In 2017 was actually the lowest year on record, going back to the mid-70s. And in particular, the areas where we're seeing really the biggest difference across administrations are for the really big regulations. These are sometimes called economically significant regulations or major regulations. So regulations that are expected to have an impact of $100 million or more per year, those regulations have come down substantially under the Trump administration.
And Brohl observes that economists have estimated that these regulations cost the U.S. economy between $2 trillion and $4 trillion annually, with one estimate bringing it as high as $30 trillion. And of course, one of those major regulations is something on which we should focus, that being the wonderful, deceptively titled, so-called Affordable Care Act, Obamacare.
Affordable, there's a reason. Affordable. 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 Affordable.
Which, as some economists have noted, is responsible for the delay in the recovery of full-time employment. In fact, as Michael Farron, research fellow for the Mercatus Center specializing in labor, economic development, and transportation issues, observed,
once the Great Recession hit, it really did soar. It more than doubled, almost tripled. And it stayed really high for a really long time, and in fact has just now started to approach the levels that it was at before the Great Recession. And so the question is why did it take so long to get back to that point? And the fact of the matter is that the ACA did make it more expensive to hire full-time employees rather than part-time employees, or to hire full-time employees instead of contractors.
And then there's the factor of taxes. President Trump's tax reform appears to have been a major factor in the economic improvement.
Tax reform is a big area where you essentially stimulated the economy by returning money that would have otherwise been taken by the government for taxation. And by lowering individual income taxes, you gave people spending power back that would have then flowed into the economy. And the other aspect of that is the lowering of the corporate income taxes that would have had a similar effect.
Paul Katzef, writing for Investors Business Daily, noted that in 2017, Trump lowered marginal rates for all of the 7 IRS categories, save the 0% and the 35% categories. That would mean that a person who earns $90,000 a year would be able to hold on to another $2,000 of what he or she earned. Trump also expanded deductions for single filers, nearly doubled them for married couples, and he nearly doubled the exempted amount for the inheritance tax. And of course, he lowered corporate taxes from 35% to 21%. That is huge.
I always call it massive. Sometimes they say huge. Not a bad one.
It's important to note something. This money doesn't belong to Cory Booker. It doesn't belong to Amy Klobuchar. The businesses don't belong to the politicians who hunger so intensely to tell others how to live. And none of the politicians should credit a former president for an economy that is driven by civilians simply trying to serve others in a market that particular president, Barack Obama, made less free. The only thing that allows for greater productivity and better economics is freedom. We can never forget this. So, a little economic intervention for you collectivist politicians out there. Don't credit the hurdles for the fact that the hurdler can cross the finish line. And don't put up more. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and to tell your friends about us. We really appreciate you watching. For MRCTV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.